Well, hi, this is great, and thank you. It really is a team effort, even just to get to training. You know, I'm glad that we have each other for this too. Um, well, today we wanted to at least highlight you guys in one way or another, and let you know that we think that you're wonderful, and that we and that coaching can really be exciting. And I by the things that we experience. And I'm just, how about it? You guys, can you each do a coaching success this week? Can you share one? How about you, Alina? Do you want to start?
I'd love to. My coaching win for the week is that one of my clients has really been getting into the Habits of Health webinars. She said she listened to 6 of them this
Ah,
week. And so that's always exciting because we know how important that is for them to get that education and community and when they get plugged into that. So that was a major win because sometimes clients don't realize the importance of that. And this one particular client of mine she's been on plan for about a month. And last week is when she really started watching them, and she watched a few, like 2 or 3. And then this week she's like, yeah, I've watched 6 already. It's like, wow, okay. So that's a win for the week when you know that your clients are plugging in.
that's excellent. How about you, Jan?
I guess visiting with my oldest client. She is turning 75 this year, and I visited with her yesterday, and she's got a lot of health issues. But she was just telling me how wonderful she's feeling, and she has been walking. She's been exercising more. She's been going to the pool in the nearby gym, and she's been walking the malls. And she's been so excited that she's been able to walk a mile around the mall. And her and her husband went to Florida last month and get warmer weather. And she was saying how she was able to walk 2 miles throughout the day in Florida. And she was just so excited that she had the energy and mobility to be able to do that.
It's wonderful. Excellent. How about you, Cheryl?
Okay, so I probably had a couple coach wins this week. Most of my clients are having kind of a hard time, so it's been a harder week. But one of my clients has been interested in coaching, so that's been really exciting. And Angela's been kind of off and running with practice calls, and she's excited.
And a natural. She's something.
I haven't gotten to hear her do it, so that's really cool. It's good to hear. And then also another one of my clients, I was able to check in with her. She's so busy, I'm not always able to, so that was exciting. And she's doing really, really well. Just seems to really be like plugged into the program and kind of catches the vision of it, I feel like. And she, probably had the best progress results this week, but also just to hear her enthusiasm was nice. It was refreshing, and she just was like, I love it. It's easy. It's still easy. And she just, every time I see her is so excited to share all the compliments she's getting and all of the, fun things that people are saying to her. And she's loving it. She's, this is her 2nd month on program, and she's already down over 30 pounds. So It's really exciting.
That is awesome. That's excellent. How about you, Liz?
Yeah, I'll share one. I just signed up a husband and wife client yesterday, and I had done a call with them like 3 years ago, and with the wife, and she had just found out she had all these allergies, eggs, milk, and so she was doing healthy eating. And so she thought she'd try it on her own for a while, and then I, forgot to follow up with her. And anyway, she liked one of my posts, and so I always like to click on who's liking my post. And I just thought I'd send her a quick message, and so I just sent her a quick message. Hey, I was just thinking about you today. I just wanted to say hi and see what you were up to. And she's not on Facebook very much, so it took her about a week to see it, and then she messaged back. My husband and I need to get healthy. We're ready to do your program. So like that just goes to show it's important just to follow up, even if it's just saying hi, and notice who is liking your post and commenting on your post. And sometimes it might be 3 years later. You never know. So I'm excited for that.
That is excellent. That is excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you, you guys. Another thing that if you would just take, but how much time we have here, I would like to know, would someone like to share their story? Just one of you guys. Would you share your story with us? How about you, Jen? Would you share your story? What would you say to someone that says, oh, what do you do? What do you do for a living?
Oh, honestly, I feel like I'm replaying my story in my mind differently every day. I don't know. I think, okay, so what I do for a living, I help people find their happiness. I like to help people believe in themselves, and I have been kind of on a journey of building confidence myself and finding, I don't know, I guess finding my own self in my own brain. It's hard. There's a lot of stuff in the world, you know, body image is always one thing, but nutrition is always so confusing. Building that confidence. So I've been kind of on a mission to try to figure it out for myself and help others find it for them.
Beautiful. That's great. How about you, Liz? Would you share your story just real quick, and then we'll turn the time to Alina.
Yeah, I'm actually just pulling into my driveway, and I know my reception's really spot right here, so Hold on just a second, and I do want to share. Just pulling into my driveway. This road, for some reason, cuts in and out, so just 1 second. So it would really depend on who I'm sharing it with, you know, but if I were to share it with you ladies, I would probably say something like, I used to be overweight. I have had 6 kids, and I always gained a lot of weight with each pregnancy, and really good that program really get that weight off, really teach me healthy habits and to a good place to get my body balanced, and I love it. So I help other people that struggle with the same thing that I struggled with their weight, getting off medication, having more energy, you know, whatever it is that they're struggling with. So that's what I get to do.
That's excellent. Thank you. All right. I was able to share my story real quick with about 4 people on the way on our trip on Monday. And it was just as easy as saying, you know, a few years ago, I lost 60 pounds. I lost a lot of weight. And now I work with the program that helped me to do that, and I love it, and it's been wonderful. And so that's, you know, it can be so simple. So thank you for sharing those. Thank you, Alina. You ready? Trying to give you just a couple other seconds there.
You're fine. I'm sorry if my baby, she's being really fussy and crying today, so I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you guys can still hear me amid her cries. We'll see if we can help her a little. She's really tired, so it's nap time, but I'll have to soothe her to sleep in a little bit. So this is going to be a challenge.
Do you want to?
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about something that I like to do that we were trained on a couple of years ago now, Vicki, when we first were introduced to this exercise and about commitment. And it's something that I like to do with my clients, usually maybe like a couple weeks in. and so I wanted to share it with all of you so that you could, you know, utilize this tool because it helps a lot. And I like to do a Zoom, just like we're doing now, and kind of talk with them about this. So kind of 1 week celebration, you know, that happens, and then you know, soon after that, I'll set up a Zoom for this. And I like to talk to them about commitment. And I say, you know, I want to talk to you about 3 words, and I tell them to get a piece of paper and a pencil so they can write it down. And I say the first word is commitment, and then I say write down commitment. And I want you to take some notes here. And then I ask them, what is something that you are really committed to in your life? And a lot of times, you know, they might say, I'm committed to, well, I wonder, Vicki, do you want to like be the client?
Sure, I would love to.
Do it like that? Okay. So, Vicki, what is something in your life that that you are really committed to?
I am committed to my marriage and to my children, I think, and to my faith. Those are my biggest parts of my life.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And is it always easy? Let's think about your marriage. So, your marriage, is it always super easy?
Oh gosh, we're talking 41, almost 42 years, and no is the answer. And yes, I want it to just keep on getting better. Most of the time it's wonderful, and sometimes it's really difficult, but you know, all of you guys can relate to that one, I think.
Definitely. I can definitely relate to that. It is not always easy, for sure. But what is it that makes you stick in there and not say, oh, Joe, I'm fed up with you, I'm leaving? Which, I mean, sounds silly, but at the same time, you know, or even just say, I'm done having patience with you about this thing. It's just eating me away. I'm feeling angry about it. I'm just going to choose to continue to be angry. And, you know, like sometimes we all have those moments, but what brings you around? What
brings me around?
Yeah, what keeps you staying committed to your marriage and trying to, you know, rectify things or make things work when those times come up, because they do come up pretty often sometimes.
Actually, I think it's my commitment to my Heavenly Father. I think that is my commitment. That is my solid rock. And the rest of the things, I just believe He's going to help, and that things will come that will help me to understand, to help me move forward. So maybe, I guess, what helps me with one commitment is a commitment to something even stronger, you know? Yeah. So there we go.
I love that. I love that answer. I love that sorry. I love that you said that, you know, you made the commitment and that means something to you. What I'm hearing you say is that means something to you. It means enough to you also to think of another commitment and to have faith, right? Sometimes it takes faith.
It's faith. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is faith.
Yeah, it takes faith to have patience and stay true to your commitment in your marriage. Mm-hmm. And you keep positivity. What I'm, you know, kind of hearing from your message is positivity and faith, and knowing that you made this commitment and wanting to stick to your commitment are things that help you in the hard times. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. And I want you to think about your health and your commitment to health now, and think about, you know, sometimes when it gets hard, because it does. It does sometimes get hard. And those things that you talked about, the positivity, the, you know, wanting to keep your commitment that you set out to do, and faith, you know, it kind of takes all of those things to help you through those hard times with your health. So I want to talk to you about the second word, metacognition. I had never heard this word, up until, recently, the last couple of years or so. And metacognition is the ability to think about your own thoughts. And it's something that humans can do that no other creature can do. So we can reflect upon what we're thinking. Why did I have that thought? What am I thinking? Those types of things that we can separate ourselves from our thoughts. We don't necessarily have to, if we think something, we have to follow through with it. Like, if we want to yell at our kids, we don't necessarily have to, even though we're really mad or something like that. We can be more in control of our thoughts. And when it comes to our health, that's something that I want to talk about too, is that metacognition. And, sometimes it does get hard. Have you had any times in your health journey where you've had thoughts come that have made things difficult for you, or thoughts come that have wanted to make you stray from your goals?
You bet. It isn't we're not alone in this world. And so being around other people, a lot of the influences can be really strong. Yeah. So have to think about how I interact with other people.
That's true. Do you have any examples of thoughts that you've had that have... Sorry.
Oh, let's see. Well, even with my husband, sometimes husbands are kind of helpful, and sometimes it's a little hard with some of the things that they want to do or eat or experience, and then having to think about how I can love someone even if they don't, they're not on the same track as me. And so I don't have to get mad at them. I don't have to always insist on my own way, but I need to learn. And so I think about that,
Yeah, those are good
am I above the line or am I below the line when I work with someone when it has to do with my own health? So there we go. Is that okay?
Yeah. So, one thing, sometimes we have those thoughts if we're, something feels like it's different than what we're used to when it comes to our health. So and you were saying with your husband, if he's doing something different than you would normally want to do something, you have kind of different ways. Sometimes it gets uncomfortable and you're like, okay, what am I going to do, in this situation? But when it comes to eating healthy, for example, what am I going to do? It feels weird to not be eating dessert at this party. And thoughts can start coming to your mind of, oh, but you don't want to offend anybody, or, oh, but just one won't matter, oh, it's okay, it's a special occasion, or I've been so good, I deserve this.
There you go.
And those types of thoughts are the ones that come that tempt us to stray from our goals, and to stray from our commitment, like we were talking about before. When we make a strong commitment, then we've done it for a reason. It's because we really want to do something. We really have, and we have committed to focus, and in this case, on our health. And so when those thoughts come, I want to teach you a few things that you can say, some positive affirmations that you can remember. I am not my thoughts. When those thoughts come, recognize it. You are just a thought. I am not my thoughts. When you start to hear those things. I am in command, and I will obey my command. I will act now to keep my commitment. And those are things that you can use. I'll have my clients write these down. And I tell them, this is a good thing to write down and put in places where you're going to have it, where you can see it frequently and often, so that you can use it frequently and often whenever those thoughts are coming. And then I'll say to them, I'm going to say these with conviction out loud and read these off to you. And I say, I am not my thoughts. You are just a thought. I am in command, and I will obey my own command. I will act now to keep my commitments. I always add that other part on, even though it's not up here. And then I have my clients. I say, okay, here's the fun part. Now I want you to say these out loud with conviction to me right now. So Vicki, can you say these out loud with
you go.
Like you.
I am not my thoughts. You are just a thought. I am in command, and I will obey my own command, and I will act now to keep my commitments.
Perfect. Perfect. How did you feel saying those words?
Oh, well, you know, there's sometimes, like even just right then, there's a little nervous, you know, but then it feels more sure by the time you get at the bottom of it, you know. So
yeah, it's true. It might, yeah, it might not feel like the way you normally talk, or you know, and you might be not sure if you believe these own words you're saying, but there's something too. There's some power in saying these words out loud.
mm-hmm.
And when you say those words and you're telling yourself that, and your brain is computing these things, it's going to start believing them. You're like you said, you started to feel more sure at the end. So this is where I, you know, when we're able to use, you know, these words of affirmation to, you know, help us and give us that pep talk so that we can stay true to our commitment, then we feel a sense of peace. We feel accomplishment. We feel empowered. We can find joy in our journey to health, not you know, feeling like you're missing out, or feeling, you know, bad about, you know, not having, you know, that struggle. You can be more at peace with and joy with your journey. Like, I'm staying with my commitments. These are just thoughts. You know, I'm not my thoughts. You know, I'm going to act now to stay with my commitments, and it's going to be okay. And that's really helpful. So those feelings of empowerment and joy in the journey, and peace throughout that is our third word. I'm going to go back to
Equanimity.
Equanimity.
Yeah.
That is the definition of equanimity, and that is what we're looking for as we go through this journey to health. And then I give my clients a challenge, and I say, okay, I'm going to give you a challenge this week. I want you, well, even just for 24 hours, I want you to use those words of affirmation when you hear those thoughts. I want you to recognize when you hear those thoughts and write down what are some of those thoughts that you're having that seem to be showing up. And then use those words of affirmation. Say them out loud if you can. Say them in your head if you know, are, you know, in a crowd or something. But use those and then just observe and see how you feel after you do that. If it helps those thoughts to go away, you know, and just see what, you know, if you're able to stick with your commitments and use these things with you for these 24 hours. And I'm going to check in with you in 24 hours to see how the challenge went.
I would like that. Thank you. For real. I would really like that. Please do.
So, and this is just a good thing for them to really kind of reevaluate, or not reevaluate, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but basically recommit, or just kind of think about the commitment that they started out with and kind of finalize how committed are they to their health. And it gives them a tool of something to help them when they have, you know, thoughts that come that are, you know, sabotaging thoughts. And so, you know, then they can feel empowered and they can start to feel that equanimity even in the tiniest bit. Yeah. That just provides hope. And the more that they use this, the better it is. And I'm preaching to my own self too, because every time I do this, it reminds me as well. That's part of being a health coach. Every time I teach this to my clients, it's reminding myself too, and helps me. So
great.
Anyway, so yeah, that's just what I wanted to share, that exercise. And we can post these images too on the group. So if you wanted to, any of you want to use this with your clients, if you think this would be a helpful tool, or, you know, around the second week or so, second or third week maybe, you know, maybe sooner, maybe just after their celebration call, who knows, whenever you feel it's right. If you have a client that you've had for a month already or 2 months already, and you've never done this, it could be a good thing. Like it's never too late. It's never too early. It's a good skill set to give them and a tool to give them to help them on their journey. So does anybody have any questions about that process?
I'll say something real quick. I think the more that we do this and we teach it to other people, the more we become aware of our thoughts. And that's where we realize that we're having progress. Like when we have a thought and you kind of can sit back and look at that thought or think about that thought and recognize like that thought process and realize that's just a thought, and even learn to sit with that uncomfortable feeling of that craving or whatever it is. And usually it will go away within 20 minutes, but learning to like recognize it and just sit with it, like just acknowledge that it's there, kind of like a pest. And then if you just kind of like when your siblings used to tease you, if you just sit there and ignore them, usually they just quit. Whereas if you give into that and tease back, then it just like is continual. Same thing with a craving. If you just like sit and ignore it, usually it'll go away. And so like just to recognize those thoughts that are popping up, the more we teach it, the more we're going to recognize it. So thanks, Alina. You did an awesome job.
You did a beautiful job.
Thanks, and thank you for helping, Vicki. You were awesome. So, yeah, does anybody have questions about just any general health coaching things? Are we ready to open it up for that?
Yes. Yep.
I'm looking at this. I had to look up the definition of equanimity. Evenness of mind, especially under stress. Is that what you're thinking?
It's be able to be at peace, and there's a really good book too that I'll share with you too, Karen, that is about this.
Karen, one way that I like to think of equanimity, sorry, my kids are so loud, is if you've ever climbed like a tall mountain and you worked really hard and you struggled and you wanted to turn around and quit and go back, but you made it, that feeling when you get to the top of peace and joy and like you've arrived, that's like a good definition of equanimity. Like the feeling of peace and joy when you conquer something big.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, I love all these babies bouncing around. They're good.
I was just thinking, everyone's saying their kids are loud. I'm like, mine are at school.
Mine don't even live in the house.
Right.
So, yeah, life goes on. Oh, gosh. Well, thank you. Yes, this is really good. And Karen, let's do this next time so you can practice with me and I can practice with you, okay? We'll do that. So find a partner, you guys. Find someone to do this with in the next 24 hours if you can, all right? Go through it, listen to it, hear it, even think it through for yourself, and share this. So you've got a kind of a head start on being able to remember it. So, yeah. Karen, putting on that wedding dress had to have had a little bit of equanimity in that one. Yeah. By golly. You look just beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, gosh. Well, guys, thank you so much. And I think if this is it, any more questions?
I had a potential client ask me today, what is the difference between your program and Jenny Craig or any of the other ones? And I'm going to share with you what I said, but if you have anything else, I'd like, because I need to follow up with him. But I said one of the things is that we focus on educating ourselves for the future, so that this is not just a diet. This is something that will help you to make lifelong changes, and talked about the habits of health. And then I also talked about one of the things that for me is knowing that we're balancing our carbohydrates and our proteins, and that a lot of other diets focus on more like calories in, calories out. And definitely I tried to focus on the education aspect of this particular program as a way, because, and by the way, one of the other questions he wanted to know was, what are, he's a lawyer, so there's that, but he wanted to know if I had any statistics of people who go through the program and then just gain it all back. So those are some of the things that, I mean, I really felt comfortable that I held my own, but I would appreciate anybody else's input on some of those things.
That's good. Well, one of them, oh, let's see if we get our Liz.
Yeah, I think what you said was perfect. I think that's awesome. The only other thing that I would add is our program really focuses on gut health, lowering inflammation, get your body into balance. But the support aspect is something like that no other program offers. The education and really the mindfulness. We work on the mental part, where most other programs are more like a diet. They're just focused on getting the weight off, and we're focused on creating optimal health for the rest of your life. But that's great you mentioned the balancing blood sugar, that our program actually gets you into a mild ketosis. It's scientifically proven, and but I think everything that you said was perfect, really. So kind of finding out what their need is, what they've tried before. And a lot of Jenny Craig, those kind of programs don't have that lean and green meal that you're practicing healthy cooking and shopping. That lean and green meal that we do on our program is so important, to learn how to make good choices, learn how to shop at the store, and practice healthy cooking. So that's one aspect that I really love also.
So I don't know much about those other programs, but Jenny Craig or Nutrisystem, it's all your meals?
As far as I know, yes, all your meals you buy from them.
Okay.
So one other thing too, Karen, that I like to say when people are like, so how many people, like statistically, how many people gain their weight back, or how many people have success, or how do you, so I like to say, I don't really have a statistic for that, but from what I've seen, the people that gain it back are the ones that don't plug into the education and community and all 4 parts of the program. The people that treat it just like a diet and just use the food as diet food and only think that the meal plan is the only thing that they need, they're the ones that are more at risk to gain it back. So staying, close to your coach, participating in the community, and really diving into the education, that's what's going to help you to have to guarantee your success. It's going to be what's going to set you apart from those that might gain their weight back. So that's kind of how I like to address that if people are talking about or want to know, so how many people have you helped that have, so even you getting started and not having a lot of clients experience yet, that's just true of, just be well, the other health coaches that I've worked with, this is what they've seen. You know what I mean? You can always say that too, because it's true. That's what we see. So people that plug in.
Interesting you said that, because I very much use that. I actually have, I actually did this program, 2013. And I lost 20 pounds. And guess what? I was well, the biggest thing is I was just I don't like this food. I just didn't. And so I quit and stepped away from the coach, and guess what? I gained it all back. So I actually have my own story.
There you go.
But certainly, yeah, my mindset is different. And at this point, and so I am a lot more plugged into, I don't even know that there was a Facebook group back then, honestly. And yeah, it was a lot different. Just a lot of things were a lot different back then. So that's kind of what Vicki was helping me with this time, is helping me to see how the program had changed. And also the fact that I don't have to eat the food that I don't like. That was a big one.
Yeah. Great question though, Karen. Thanks for bringing that up.
Very good.
I have a question for Karen.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Oh, so I was wondering what brought you to the point after you kind of gave up and, quit on the program and, gained it back. What brought you to the point where you were ready to try it again? What changed for you to be open to trying the program again?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? Who's asking me that? I'm sorry, I couldn't tell.
Cheryl.
It's me, Cheryl.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I tried to flip the screen and couldn't see who was talking. Okay, so oh gosh, let me see if I can do this in, what did you say, 60 seconds? I got an autoimmune disease about 3 years ago. And I was a mess. And not only that, I mean, I had gained a bunch of weight. And so anyway, and of course this was after the first time. And then I got to 260 pounds and was like, I have to do something. And so I started kind of doing my own thing. I did kind of a low carb diet, and then I lost 30 pounds and I plateaued basically and was like, I don't know what else to do. So with my doctor, I actually took 3 different diet pills. And by the way, none of those did anything. And so I was frustrated that I was stuck at 30, lost 30 pounds and still had a lot more to go. And I knew that Vicki I knew that she was on the program I had once been on. And so back in July of last year, I was like, okay, Vicki, I got to do something else because this isn't working. But I'm scared because